Hey guys, gals, and non-binary pals, and welcome. We are today here on the esteemed booktube of the bookworm themselves, Noah. I'm Ven. I am the guest, but he's insisted that I introduce, just so I can break him in new and interesting ways. Thank you for having me, Noah. And he's gone.
That was really good.
This is why we are the Chaos Gremlins.
Yes. I thought it was goblins.
Gremlins, goblins,
Same
orcs.
thing.
You like orcs.
Oh, I love orcs.
They're bigger than you.
Climbing like a tree.
So are goblins.
Okay.
But there we go.
Right.
What are we talking about now?
We're talking about Dead Silence by S.A.Barnes. That was released in 2022 and is a space horror.
Yes, it should have stayed in 2022.
Really?
I have
Wait.
the last time we did this,
Yeah.
we were talking about a book that you had bought multiple times, which was, of course,
The Whistling.
At one point, this was going to get the same rating off me.
No.
The reason it moved up was because I switched. Someone in my chat, because I was reading it on live stream, was listening to the audio version of it at the same time, and I asked them who the narrator was, and they told me it was Lauren Ezzo. Now, I have spoken about her before. She is an outstanding narrator of cold, suspenseful, and horror-based narratives, because she grasps the quiet moments of introspection and horror intenseness really, really well. Her tonality is perfect for it.
Yeah.
And that immediately elevated what I would call the most magnolia of script that this book contains throughout. But we will get on that. I do have a solution for this book, but we will touch on that later because I have a thought which I had last night.
Right, okay.
Things.
Okay.
But you like this more than I did.
At first, I didn't enjoy it. I saw it as the story itself just felt to me from the way that it was done. It was like it had the first Alien movie and the second one, Aliens, just kind of bunched together, and it just felt like a huge homage to Aliens. Yeah. And I was like, cool, I'm into it, but I was bored at the same time until it got to the second half.
Now, in that first half, was it because I've got a couple of thoughts about the first half. The first half was a lot weaker than the second half, just to be clear. Eventually, I gave this a 3.5, which I still think is generous, and I still think is based on the narration. Okay? From my point of view, from what I like. And I like slow narratives. We've said this before, I do like a slow burn horror, which I think I struggle to call this a horror, actually. But it's not exciting enough to be a thriller. It's more of a mystery.
Yeah, I would agree with that. It definitely is a mystery. This, I don't know, but at the same time, it was more about atmosphere than anything.
It had atmosphere?
I think in the second half it did. When they got onto the ship, the whole thing is about them finding the ship, right?
Okay.
And then it was like that bit. I was like, cool, okay, I get it. They found the ship, stuff like that, and then it just got known with all that, the time hops and stuff like that, and what could have happened? Ooh, mystery. But I think the build with the atmosphere of them getting onto the ship, and then especially with the second half, I think it was more about the atmosphere and what it kind of like preluded and stuff like that.
So I think it's fair to say this is a book of two halves.
Yeah.
But the first half is more muddled of the two, because what you kind of have, the first half is kind of what I'd say is an extended flashback.
Yeah, and I'm not a fan of flashbacks. That's what
I like flashbacks. They can work, but
not in this one.
The problem you have here is you have the main character and you know they get off the ship alive. So that undermines the tension build up straight away.
Yes.
That was my biggest issue at the beginning. You know that they get out. It's like, okay, but also in the first half you have a current moment chapter and then 3 or 4 chapters where it goes back in time and then comes back again and then flips back. So you have this. It's not jarring because of the way it's actually presented. It makes sense. It's clear when you're in these flashback moments.
Yeah.
The flashback moments in terms of the linear spread of time doesn't make a great deal of sense in places, but that runs throughout the entire book.
Yeah.
Because you don't get a real sense of time passing bizarrely.
Yeah.
Which I think is to the book's detriment. Because it doesn't have that sort of
Time bomb.
ticking clock aesthetic
Yeah.
going on in the background. When you say atmosphere, I got so little atmosphere from this.
Really?
Yeah. It had, especially in the first half, there was a little bit in the second, but the second half was more tension from situation rather than location.
Yeah.
If that makes sense. So, actually, before we get any further, what's the story, Noah?
The story is how she's literally about to lose a job and she's obsessed with being in space, not being stuck on ground. That
Yes.
when they're in this certain section of space, they get a blip from an old SOS sort of signal and they go towards it. Not everyone wants to, but she's like, I'm the captain, we're gonna go. And they find it, and it's a ship that went missing like 20 plus years ago.
Yeah.
And they're like, no one could have survived this long, and they go into the ship.
Yeah. So this is, at its core, this is the Mary Celeste in space. Disappears in the Bermuda Triangle, never to be seen again.
Yeah.
And then they find it. They
Yeah.
find the abandoned ship. Or a better example is Titanic. In a bizarre way, but we don't know what happened. Now, this is what happens if you have the love child of the aftermath of Titanic, an alien, for me.
See, no, I wouldn't say that at all.
No. Well, when we talked about it before I started reading it, and you explained it to me, the way you explained it to me made me think close, claustrophobic, alien.
No, what I was getting at was the storyline itself, kind of like this person, something happens to her, and then corporation. Certain bits in it that are literally pulled from Alien and Aliens. I'm not saying that UFO alien itself, but other aspects.
So when we were talking beforehand, and this may have affected my enjoyment, I need to admit bias here. I was expecting a lot more claustrophobic environment. What this reminded me of when we got into it, oddly enough, was Prey Without the Danger. Video game Prey. That big space station.
Yeah.
So it gave me this sense of opulence and rich people being rich people.
Yeah.
And sadly dying, which, is a terrible thing.
Mm-hmm.
But I never felt a sense of danger at any point in the first half.
Not in the first half. I agree with you on that one.
No. And when we hit the second half, the sense of danger wasn't from the location. Now, if I'm going to compare this to something else, a book that you have not finished, but I think you should, The Deep, by Nick Cutter.
I have read The Deep.
Oh, no, you read... I thought you didn't finish it. I thought you DNF'd it.
No, I read The Deep. I gave you the book afterwards.
Oh, I thought you DNF'd it.
No, I read it.
That, which is why we're going to disagree so much with that, what I loved about that book, we'll ignore the story, because the story is the least interesting aspect.
What, for Dead Silence?
For both of them.
Okay.
But where The Deep worked really well was the location felt like its own character.
Yeah, it was isolation, claustrophobia, and I loved that in The Deep. This definitely didn't have it.
No.
I didn't feel that, but there were certain things that happened. I thought, oh, that's creepy, and that's built up a sort of atmosphere.
No. There's a few ideas in this that I like.
Yeah.
There is some things that it does do reasonably well.
Yeah.
It doesn't do reasonably well, the ensemble cast. Because you have Claire, Voller, Kane, Lourdes, and Nisus at the beginning, who are the crew of this scavenger ship.
Yeah.
Before recording, I couldn't even remember what one of them did, which says it all. And I think where this begins to fall down is because there is such a limited sense of jeopardy. And just to be clear, I do like the twist in this, which does hint back at quite a Lovecraftian idea
Yeah.
with stuff, but we'll touch on that properly later on.
Yeah.
But because I didn't care about the characters at all,
Yeah.
Claire's backstory was interesting.
Yes.
I like the way that began to weave through.
Yeah.
But I think they could have achieved the same effect with less pages. I think the setup prevented the landing a little bit.
I have to agree. Also, the thing with the characters is I didn't really like any of the characters as well. There was no character to even like somewhat be able to compare to. I thought pretty much most, if not all of them, were absolute dicks. And I was just like, I could care less about what happened to them.
The closest one to being a human was Kane, who is the love interest.
Yes, the doctor.
Yes, but if he was a flavour, he'd be vanilla.
I have to agree. No, I agree. There's, like I said, there's certain things in this book that I absolutely agree with, and others I'm just like, I see differently.
My issue, and this is because of my preference as a reader, because I know we value different things.
Yes.
If you're going to put characters in a situation of alleged peril, alleged being the key word here,
yep,
you need to make me care about the characters. If
I agree.
don't care about the characters, the tension doesn't land. I don't care about the mystery. I don't feel any investment in the story. And that's where this lost me, because reading it, I found... That's that uploaded. Sorry. That can get minimized now. So what I found in the first... And again, the first half is... It's not badly written.
No, it's not.
Okay. In fact, no, let me rewind. Because I feel like I'm being harsh. And
Go
I
on.
probably am. So, this is well written.
Yeah.
It executes its core concepts very well.
Yep.
The characters, for what they are, do the job they need to do in the narrative at a base level. It doesn't do anything especially original with some of its tropes in terms of capitalism and corporatism and stuff like that. So the twists are not shocking when they happen, but it does a good job of laying the groundwork for them. Little things like the earbuds.
I liked that when she had that thought. What was she called?
Yeah.
Claire, the main character. When she had that thought about the earbuds, I was like, ah.
Yeah. Now the thing is, though, I do have a criticism.
Go on.
About the laying of the groundwork, because if you're looking for a twist in a story, right?
Yeah.
The twist needs to make sense and have been clued in previously, but not clued in to the point that it's obvious.
Yeah.
This was incredibly heavy-handed, talking about sound and vibration. Incredibly heavy-handed.
It was,
which by a third of the way through, my brain had gone.
I know what this is. No, same, which is unusual for me because sometimes I'm just really dumb.
Yeah.
But I called it pretty much with that.
And again, if I'm going to compare it to another book that did it better, and I hate this other book, the splatterpunk thing that you read recently by Judith Sonnet, the dinosaur one.
Oh yeah,
Splatosaurus.
Yeah,
where it did something very early on.
It did
that everybody missed pretty much, and I was looking at the time going, that doesn't make sense. And my brain put it to one side to figure out why does that not make sense in the situation? Why has it done that?
Yeah,
and I assumed at the time it was bad writing, and it wasn't.
It wasn't. No.
So, and that is what I liked. This was, there's these weird vibrations.
Yeah.
There's been more weird vibrations. They've made it from this new stuff, which has caused weird vibrations. It's like, I wonder if sound and vibration is the key to what's going on here.
Mm-hmm.
And it was.
Yep.
And again, that removes an element of... The most interesting thing in here was the mystery element to me, because it never felt tense.
Yeah.
The atmosphere never felt particularly threatening.
It's not that it felt threatening. For me, it was more like the little snippets of they could hear like someone singing a nursery rhyme and people started to like see things. And we get with scientifically, in certain vibrations and frequencies, this can
Yes.
happen. But when they had that scene where they were like, "Can you hear that singing?" and everyone was like, "You know what? Yeah, we do hear that nursery rhyme." I was literally like, "Dead space."
Now,
That's creepy.
why that didn't work for me, and there's one reason why it didn't. Claire. Because she continues to have these hallucinations.
Oh yeah, she's just mentally fucked.
Yeah. And it's deliberately ambiguous whether there's another thing going on with her or
Yes.
not.
No, there is, because she does mention something that she doesn't know, and someone kind of loses their shit. So I think there's supposed to be like some sort of form of like clairvoyance or something with her at the same time, which is weird for a sci-fi book for me, especially set in space.
Yeah, which is fine when you don't have the overlap.
Yeah.
Because you have this undermining thing where it's muddling the narrative a little bit for me. So I would have actually preferred it if it was actually ghosts. Actually, I think that would have been more interesting to me.
I have to agree.
The idea of haunted spaces is an old one. Well, lots of people die in one area. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Now you can then use the actual scientific stuff to sort of drive that through a little bit more, drive the paranoia. 52 hertz is a thing.
Yes, we've gone. It's 50. Yeah. Well, no, 52 hertz is the whale sound.
Yes. No. So there's I don't have I have it saved on my.
There's a certain type of frequency that some people can hear that some people can't, and it can affect them in a certain way. I know that you can hear some of them.
I can.
We've talked about this.
Yeah, I actually do sometimes have them in my videos.
Yeah.
If I'm doing horror books, I'll sometimes have it as an underlying sound running through the background, deliberately.
Very nice.
Yes. But and actually, part of me wonders if that was running through the audio of the book, thinking about it.
I mean, I don't know. I read the book. I don't own the Kindle.
Yeah. I'm curious if it's on the audiobook in the background, really, really muted, just to add that sense of disquiet. Because if it is, it's very... I doubt it. But it's an interesting idea on a side point.
I don't think audiobook people are that smart to clog it. I know... I listen to a lot of podcasts and a lot of people who play like tabletop RPGs, and there's a horror one that I listen to by this group of people called Tabletop Story, and they actually do set them type of frequencies while they're playing live and stuff and do the podcast. They do actually have certain things like that running in the background, and with hints and stuff that people can actually go into software, go into the sound files, and there's hints and tips and clues going on in the background as well that people can do. So when people do that for it, I love it, but I don't think audiobooks are that smart to clock that.
I don't. I think some do. I think.
Really?
Some do use sound and music throughout the narrative.
Yes, some do. But I don't think rare.
This is.
Yeah, no.
I don't think this is one of them. So you have your main cast. You have Claire, who's the team leader captain.
Yep.
Claire has what I would call the tropey, I've had a difficult childhood and I live with guilt past. Also,
survivor guilt. Yeah, bonkers. Yeah, PTSD.
Yeah, doesn't like people, just wants to live in space, and is really upset that she's been forced into a desk job after this job.
But that's what makes her a strong female character.
She is not a strong female character.
No, she's not. But other people would disagree with us saying that.
That's fine. They are more than welcome to be wrong. You then have the sort of polar opposite, which is Vola, who is the pilot, and in the nicest way.
Oh, sexist pig.
An asshole.
Yeah,
he's just an asshole. He's out for himself. He's confrontational. He's greedy. At least he's upfront about it.
Oh yeah. He doesn't hide it. He's just a dick.
Not remotely underhanded. He's just, and also you do get the sense that these people have been together for, I think it's 18 months at this point. Or was it 22 months?
22, I think. But I think like the odd one is new. There's a young girl in there who's new. Some of them have been together for a couple of years.
No, I think my understanding was that's normally 18 months for these runs, and this one's been a longer one.
All right, okay.
So they've been stuck together longer, which, in theory, should play into the dynamic more.
It doesn't.
You then have Kane, who is technically kind of the second in command. Love interest, child at home. We don't know what that relationship looks like. We never get to find out.
Yep.
Has no personality other than, I like you, Claire.
Yeah.
What do I? And then you have Lourdes and Nisus, who I don't know what Nisus does. Lourdes was sort of your typical engineer, I don't talk to people, I like machines character. Very, very tropey.
Yeah.
But very smart and did pick up on a number of the things and acted as the exposition character as we began to understand things.
Yeah.
Another trope I don't like. It has a lot of stuff in it that I don't like.
I know.
So, and then they find this ship called because I can't say it,
I can't pronounce it.
Aurora.
Oh, the Aurora. Aurora.
Yeah. There's a lot of R's in that word. And we know that I have a fear of that letter.
R.
So this was a missing luxury liner. So this is where my Titanic feel comes in with it. Because aesthetically, even the way it's described, because it's described as having the big smokestacks on top and stuff. So it sounds like it's designed...
It's designed to be like a giant ship, but with a glass like on over the top of it. Yeah.
Yeah. So it gives me that, from an aesthetic, that's what it gave me.
See, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah. All the way through. And all I could see is the Doctor Who episode, which was set on the Flying Titanic.
Oh, that had Kylie Minogue in it.
Yeah. That's all I could see through this. I was expecting androids. I was expecting stuff. And it wasn't there. So what it felt like to me was this great, big, huge, hulking, empty shell. And it had suggestions of tension. You know, you've got the bodies and floating around, and there's some good environmental storytelling in here. You know,
which I liked.
Yeah. So the example that comes to mind straight away is the I don't remember. It was one of the command crew, and they basically had a knife, but they'd sort of taped it to their hand.
It wasn't it was one of the rich girls. There's these two sisters that are like Paris, or is it Paris Hilton? You know, when they had that show and stuff like that. It was kind of like sort of that. Yeah. So
that was really interesting. But then you're having these hallucinations. Now, again, working through this feels very Bethesda. Because these are just audio logs.
They are, you're right. Oh.
So, you have a big empty world.
Yeah.
With not much going on. Subpar storytelling. But some good environmental stuff going on that doesn't really move the plot at all. But adds a little bit of flavour. And it's good, because this is otherwise ice. In the first half in particular.
Yeah, that's true.
Now then you get into the second half, and obviously Claire has returned to Earth. She's lost some of her memory. Another trope.
Yep.
Which is overused. And she's basically in, I suppose you could call it a corporate psych ward.
Oh yeah.
Kind of. I think that's it's / interrogation chamber. And this then starts to link into her past and actually makes her almost an interesting character. As you figure out I can't remember, I've not written the names down of the two main people.
Yeah.
There was like this big corporate guy who's kind of on his way out, get ready to retire. The other one's the up and coming asshole who wants his job.
Yeah, but he's like born into it though.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one who's caught in the position of power is one that Claire has come across before from her backstory. Insert backstory trauma, possibly but probably not relevant to plot here. Which, again, if that had linked in better than it does, it works better.
I agree.
So, and eventually she convinces them to let her go on a trip to recover whatever it is they're going to recover, allegedly. Oh, they're allegedly going to give closure to the families.
Yeah.
Which, you know, this is a corporation. We all know how that works. And the wheels fall off when it becomes perfectly clear that that's not what they're there to do. And also, somehow not everybody has died because vanilla ice cream has survived. In a room surrounded by mattresses.
Which I thought was good. That
It's a good idea. There is a question how he got them all in there. Where did they all come from?
All the rooms. There's over 500 people that were on this ship.
It just... For them to fit so snugly, that is very specific. This is a very minor nitpick. For them to fit so snugly interlocking on the walls without any overlap.
Yeah, okay.
A
Okay.
very minor, a
Yeah.
very minor nitpick that no, I hadn't even considered until just now. But things like that, and you have the corporate betrayal,
Oh, always.
which is fine. I like the fact corporate betrayed corporate.
I do like that as well.
I do like that. I The problem I have is that you can see from a mile off that the corporation isn't there to protect anyone's interest but their own.
Yep.
So again, it undermines its own level of tension, its own storytelling.
Yeah.
And that is my problem with this book overall. It has a load of great ideas
It does.
that are executed really, really well, other than the tripwire it keeps falling over that it's set itself.
Yeah.
It's the equivalent of someone setting a trap for a bear, turning around and stepping in their own bear trap. This is what this book does constantly. For me.
I mean,
And I
yeah.
like yeah. And I like the reveal. I like the idea that it's sound. I like the way they figured it out, even if the from a narrative point of view, it was made very early to the reader early on.
Yeah.
But that's something that can work sometimes. Did it work here? No. I think the book should have been shorter.
I
I think it needed an editing pass.
I do think it should have been shorter, but I still, as soon as I got past the first half, I really did enjoy it. I did like the certain bits that were creepy enough, like even like in the first bit, like when they're on the ship and stuff, and like obviously Claire starts hallucinating, and that there was someone under the bed and stuff like that. There's certain imagery that I enjoyed. I like when imagery is described really well.
Which it is.
Yeah.
Again, this is very well written. It is interestingly paced. I'm going to put it
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah.
It's
No.
not well
Yeah.
paced. Now, if I was to say what's the one thing in the first half you didn't like, what would it be?
The time hopping.
The time hopping. What's the solution? Because there is a solution to this. And it's not take it out, not quite.
No, I think it should have been done just a little bit differently, because this is where they get to ship, but then it was you're on ground, you're in this padded wall cell being interviewed by these two people, so before we even got onto the ship, I know you're okay.
Yeah.
I think certain things should have just been done differently with that.
Now, this is how I would structure this. This wouldn't be one book. This would be two novellas. Straight off, you cut it in half. You start the first novella, you take out the backward jumps, most of them, and then you pull them to the end of that first book as like your cliffhanger. And then what you do is you start the book with almost like a captain's log that sort of foreshadows that we know this person's going to make it out alive.
Yeah.
But you don't go into any further detail about what's gone on. And then you tell the same story. You tweak it a little bit, you make it more claustrophobic, you give some more sort of mechanical failures to add a level of danger and tension.
Yeah.
Because that's what the first half is missing.
It definitely is missing like the isolation as well.
Yeah. Because it's just empty.
Yeah.
And all they ever talk about is like the general hum and the vibration, right? But electrical subsystems make noise. Even if you can barely hear them, there's always something, texture of the air, the taste of the air. I think it's only mentioned once how stale the air is in this place. Stuff like that. So you tell the first half exactly the same, pretty much, but you just add these extra little hurdles in there just to make the situation seem more dangerous.
Yeah.
And then you have a blackout moment, and then you open back up again at the end of book one in that interrogation room. And it's like, oh shit, something happened and we don't know what. And then you start off number two and you're going through the therapy process initially, and then going into what the second half of the book is. And I think that deals with the pacing issue.
Yeah.
I think it makes the first half more tolerable because it doesn't undermine itself as much. And as well as if you're introducing these mechanical failures or these doors that jam halfway, or, the only example of any real mechanical issues in the entire book was the flickering of lights when they were turning off up the dampeners.
Yeah.
Well, it's not been touched for 20, 25 years. Why is everything still working? What you're turning this all on. This is battery powered, this machine, somehow.
Yeah.
It's not totally explained, but it's clear that there's some sort of charge nature to this.
Yeah.
You can't turn all the systems on at once. That's stupid.
Mm-hmm.
So you can have these moments of, well, we're going into this area where stuff isn't turned on. And that's where this misses for me. It doesn't quite grasp the full concept of the tale it's telling to make it a more, not thrilling, but more uneasy read. It lacks jeopardy. That was my biggest problem with this. I thought there'd be jeopardy going in, especially because of this. Especially considering the discussion we had beforehand about the Alien feeling. When I think of Alien,
You
specifically, I think of dark, claustrophobic, close noises.
That wasn't what I meant at all.
No. Now, this would work better as a TV show or movie.
I think more of like a short series, like one of them
Yeah.
6-episode series.
Yeah. This fits a visual medium better. For me.
No, I agree with you on that.
Now, again, the narration was outstanding. Lauren Ezzo is an amazing narrator. It's my third book I've listened to by her.
Yeah.
And her cadence and voice added to the tension naturally because of the way she does the quiet moments really, really well. If I'd have read this book, I might have DNF'd it, actually.
That's weird because I
don't
wouldn't have DNF'd it.
No, I got to 35%
Hmm.
on stream, and I had no interest in continuing. Like, at all. The spider behind your head is more creepy than this book was.
Oh, Xerxes.
Yes. And I don't like spiders, but it's over there, so it's
She's
fine.
not a spider, she's a tarantula.
We're not getting into that argument again.
Okay.
I don't care enough about those alien creatures to really be that interested. But that's my thought. That's why I don't like it. But why do you like it? Because you like it quite. Have you already finished Ghost Station?
Oh, I loved Ghost Station. Ghost Station was fantastic.
Are they linked?
No.
That's a missed opportunity. Just saying.
I think it's a good missed opportunity because this was absolutely fantastic.
Okay. So why did you like Dead Silence?
I think it's because I could see where she got some of the ideas from. Like I compare it to Aliens because like certain situations that happened in it, and I was like, oh, that's from Alien. I can imagine it actually like from the actual movies. Oh, this thing where the corporation and how the corporation runs and how it's doing this thing and how it wants to drag her back to this ship, just like Aliens want to do the exact same thing. Love that. And then a little bit of where they go onto the stage, and I was like, this little scene is like Dead Space, the game, from this one little moment. There's only like little bits like that. I liked the little things like that, and then the creepiness, the factor where certain things were described. I love that, and that's what really raised it for me. Otherwise, all the things that we've talked about, like, throughout this whole video, like, I agree completely, but just these certain moments where everything was, like, described really well, I was like, okay, cool. Like, the little fight scene she has with the corporation dude, and his eyes hanging out of his fucking socket, and the details into that. I was like, love it. Yay.
Now, it is worth mentioning here that, in terms of reading background, you come from horror. I come from fantasy.
This isn't horror though. This doesn't scare me. This was it didn't feel horror. It definitely felt more like a mystery.
But in terms of imagery,
I love the imagery. The imagery. So, I guess for some people, if they're not used to reading it, they would class it as horror because some of it is disgusting.
I mean, none of it really bothered me. But from a reading point of view, you've historically read horror,
yes,
more than any other genre. I think it's fair to say.
Yeah.
And by its nature, horror tends to focus on two things. Physical descriptors.
That's true.
Things, quite often. And depending on the type of horror, atmosphere.
Yes.
Now, for me, the atmosphere didn't exist in this.
There was bits of it.
There was bits, but it wasn't laced all the way through. It never reinforced itself. It was moments rather than consistent.
Yeah.
I'm from fantasy. Fantasy is all about the character and world lore more than anything else. And
Didn't have
this
any.
didn't have any of that, which is probably why I got on with it less well than you did.
Yeah.
Would you like to see a sequel to this? Because I think there is an interesting argument that you could make a follow-on from this with the Fallout, because this does have a relatively happy ending.
It does, which was baffling to me.
But it's also very open-ended.
My honest opinion, if this was going to have a second book, I wouldn't read it. Because it's just going to be about the corporation trying to prove things, and it's like, how's this going to add into it? Because this isn't going to be the sort of horror that it was supposed to be.
I have an alternative idea. But I don't know if the character would realistically do this. I think they actually probably would. Go back to the colony. Own scavenger company now. Goes back to find answers. Why everybody died and what the company were hiding.
But we know what it was.
We kind of know what it was.
Oh no, it explains it.
It explains it, but it doesn't.
Filtration system, they didn't. They're supposed to change the filters every month or so, and they left it too long. They thought it would be okay, and because it wasn't changed, the disease happened.
But there's questions there about what that disease is, because do you know what is really interesting to me as an idea? And this shows I played Fallout.
Go on.
That disease is made by one of the corporations. You can still link the corporation idea as corporate warfare.
I mean, yeah, absolutely.
And I think because of her weird psychic abilities, you can very much explain away that she starts to see her mother more and more frequently, and it draws her back. And then you can have something a lot closer to that, because it's a familiar place, that claustrophobic, dark, overgrown, crumbling sort of aesthetic, with her own sort of crew. Obviously, mainly a new crew.
Yeah.
And you now have at least some level of emotional investment in those characters at this point, because you've been through a book with them.
I don't think I would read it.
I don't think I'd read it, but I don't think I'm going to read Ghost Station. So
Ghost Station, completely different.
Probably.
Absolutely fantastic. You should read
the other thing as well is, and I need to add this, I am very strange with sci-fi.
The thing is, though, like, obviously, I'm new to sci-fi. I'm so new. I'm a newborn baby to sci-fi. The difference between, obviously, because it's written by the same person, but the difference between Dead Science and Ghost Station is a huge amount. The improvement is amazing.
As well, aren't they?
No, it's 2 years.
Is it 2 years between them?
2 years between them.
Oh, Ghost Station came out this year, didn't
Ghost Station, the improvement, the writing is that much better. The story itself is so much more. The atmosphere is so isolating. It's so good.
Right there.
It's
right there is why it is more interesting, because it's isolating.
It's isolates. Okay, so dead planet, ice planet with storms, old habitat that this place has built. Strange things have clearly happened in there. They're only a group of like 5 people in this place that's way too big. They can't really use the power because the people who were there before tried to ruin the battery, the power of this place. So they're trying to repair it. Things start happening. People are disappearing. Isolation. And seeing something that, is it there or is it not there? And things are not what they appear to be.
Okay. That sounds like what this book should have been.
Yeah. And I think from this, S.A.Barnes learned and put it into the new stuff.
There is another S.A.Barnes book coming out next year.
Oh, what is it?
It's a shorter book. It's under 300 pages. Well, it's estimated to be under 300 pages. It's called Cold Eternity. Another space horror.
I'm liking it. Go on.
Hallie is on the run from an interplanetary political scandal that has put a huge target on her back. She heads for what seems like the perfect place to lay low, a gigantic space barge housing the cryogenically frozen bodies of Earth's most wealthy citizens. The ship and its cryo program are long defunct, but Holly starts to think she sees figures crawling in the hallways.
Ooh!
And there's a constant scraping, slithering, and rattling echoing in the vents. It's not long before Hallie realizes that she may have gotten herself trapped in an even more situation than the one she was running from.
I'm so there.
Now that feels like those previous two books squashed together.
Yeah, but the thing is, though, is with Ghost Station, you actually do connect with the characters. There is you're able to actually connect with the characters with the different personalities. You can actually really enjoy them.
Okay.
So I'm excited about Cold Eternity.
You're excited. Are you?
I am.
It's a shorter book, which worries me a bit.
I was unsure when it was all like, oh, this is going to be another, oh, they're running away from corporation. Then you're like mentioning like there's something else going, like the slithering and stuff like that. I was like, okay, so this is going to be like some sort of like, it's either going to be an alien or something Lovecraftian going on here then.
Yeah. I mean, it is worth bearing in mind. I'm just curious about what the page count is for. Also, Ghost Station's actually longer than Dead Silence. Okay, that's
it didn't. It felt shorter.
I
read it within 2 days.
You did. You absolutely blasted through it.
Mm-hmm.
It took me 2 days to read Ghost Station.
You've not read Ghost Station?
Oh, Ghost Station. Dead Silence.
Do you like that? You've not read it.
No, I've not. I'm not going to.
You should.
I can say I'm not going to. I think
you should give it a chance. No. If it goes on offer, I think you should definitely give it a chance. Yeah,
I will buy it. That's why I bought Dead Silence. It was 99p.
I got Dead Silence because it was 99p as well.
Yeah, and it had been on my list for a while. There's other books I'd rather read. There's a book I think it's actually called Dead Space, but it's quite hard to get hold of.
Yes, I know which one you're talking about.
Yeah, which I think I would rather read.
Fair.
I'm not sure that space horror's my aesthetic in reading.
I think it depends on how it's written with you.
I think it will. I mean, we have established, whereas you're into your more visceral horror.
Yes.
I'm into something a lot slower, generally speaking, and more suspenseful.
Ghost Station. You should read it. Convinced. No, you really should read it. You'd find it so good.
I'm more interested in the other one you read earlier this year. Was it Paradise 1?
Dude, yes, absolutely. Oh, it's so fast paced. I don't know how you feel about how fast paced it is.
Pacing doesn't really bother me that much.
Short chapters, fast paced.
Oh, short chapters.
That's the only thing you'd hate. But everything else, the jokes it makes about how in space people always name things after like gods and goddesses and Greek people. The jokes it makes, taking the piss out of itself, is fantastic. And it's. What, are you buying it?
No, I've definitely not just put in my haul video that I'm not buying any more books this month with a laughy face.
If you read Paradise, I will reread it with you because I love that book so much. I will happily read it again.
It was $2.99 though.
Yeah, definitely. And I've pre-ordered the second book that's coming out in November.
Is that Revenant X?
Yep.
It's a nice spacesuit, actually, on the front cover of that. That's very pretty.
I've not actually seen what the cover looks like.
It gives me...
Wait, is the cover up for Revenant X?
Yeah, I'll drop it in the in Discord for you.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think I bought it now. So that lasted long. 20 minutes after finishing a video saying I'm not buying books, I have nearly bought 7 more books.
I mean,
because there's a few that I've nearly bought.
I'm excited about you reading Paradise 1. Like,
I don't know when I'll read it. This is the problem. I have such a backlog right now.
I need you to read it.
I have such a backlog, which has got worse.
I know, but I think this should be moved to the top.
No, there's other books that are definitely going to be ahead of it, including pre-orders I've got for next month.
Okay, fair.
Amongst other things. And I'm not planning on reviewing next month, so... And then we'll decide after next month what I do going forward with that. Okay. But that's a video that I haven't done yet, so... another video that I need to record at some point.
Fair.
But, yeah. Overall, would you recommend this? Who would you recommend this to?
I would, strangely enough, this is going to sound really weird, I would probably rate this to, I would move this book to like a YA.
Okay. I can see that.
I wouldn't put it in the horror section that it was in. I don't think it deserves to be there. I think it's still a good written book, but I would definitely slap it in the YA section and just be
I
like,
think if this moves to YA, it needs an editing pass
yeah.
because something I was reading recently was to do with what classes as what. This is just going off on a tangent now. I was reading something to do with how classification worked. Now, this might be unique to the US, to be clear. And YA, there's a maximum word count.
That's going to be
Interestingly
America. England is different.
But when you look in YA sections in general, it's very rare that you can break that. It's not hard and fast rule, but it seems to be very, very closely adhered to, shall we say. And I don't know if this... Then again, Six of Crows is YA, and that's like 500 pages, so that's bigger than that. So maybe not. I don't know if I'd recommend this to... I don't think I'd recommend this to a teenager.
No, I mean, like, YA is in, like, 2025.
Okay. We have different definitions of YA. Okay, I need to bear that in mind. So...
I think it's because, like, depending on where I go, that's the age range.
That is probably a discussion video we need to do, actually, because I did a little bit of research into this recently. I'm going to leave that there.
Okay.
I would recommend this to somebody who has never read science fiction horror before, because it's a soft entry point.
That's true.
Yeah, a bit like why I'd recommend, although for different reasons, and it's a better book, Fourth Wing to fantasy people.
I'm so happy you recommended that book to me.
Yeah. Simply because what it does is it has so many of the typical tropes that you get.
Yeah.
In speculative fiction and sci-fi in particular, and it doesn't do any of them particularly badly. So it gives you an idea of what you can expect from when you read another one from better ones. And there's a lot better out there, to be clear.
Yeah.
And that's not a disservice to this book. I think it's a debut novel. I think it's a very strong debut novel if it is. Just to be clear on that, it is well written. It's a very utilitarian prose. It does not dig at something that I do like, and is a problem with sci-fi in particular. It doesn't have the technobabble. It doesn't have this language that confuses you.
Yeah, that's true.
Which I do quite like in sci-fi. It doesn't feel like it's not accessible. Which things like the three-body problem, I believe, I've not got to it yet, does have that sort of issue.
Yeah.
Very different sort of book. So I think this is an easy, accessible read.
Yeah.
I recommend the audiobook very strongly. Or picking up cheap. I won't pay full price for it. I don't pay full price for most things, but I wouldn't pay full price for this under any circumstances. I don't think it's that good.
Okay.
I think if you're curious to read sci-fi, I think this is you look confused.
Yeah, my PC just went really loud and it scared me.
Oh,
sorry.
No. It's going to explode. Something else to sound fire.
You dick.
Sorry. I didn't set your house on fire.
I didn't either.
I love the fact that I felt the need I had to tell people that it wasn't me. It says a lot about me, really, doesn't it?
It does.
But yeah, this is a reasonable sci-fi novel that if you've not read sci-fi, horror / mystery before, this is an okay place to start. It's not going to blow anyone away. I think it's a book of missed opportunities. And again, I think this is better split into two novellas. Or split it into two very clear halves and just move it around a little bit.
Yeah, I'm with you on that.
But that's for me. I would be tempted to read a follow-up book to it, though, depending on what it was. I'm not tempted to read Ghost Station, though.
Ghost Station, seriously?
It probably is. I have heard other things about it, though.
See, this is the thing. I heard, like, mixed things from it, but I found it really, really fucking good.
The other thing as well is I read more sci-fi than you.
That's true.
Which is also something to bear in mind. So
yeah, but it's good.
I'm sure Ghost Station is good. Unfortunately, Dead Silence was not.
Yeah.
So I gave it a 3.5, which was being generous on my part.
See, I was generous too.
Yeah. But that is, realistically, it's probably a 3. the narration raised it. But good narration can really, really make a book.
Yeah.
Which is something I do want to talk. I'll probably talk about tonight, actually, on the live with Elaine, actually, about that a little bit. But yeah, that's my thoughts on this thing that's pushed me into a reading slump as well. Or it feels like it has nearly. I'm trying to skirt it right now.
That's brutal. So, I'm trying to skirt a reading slump as well. It's okay.
Yeah, I didn't pick up another book for 3 or 4 days afterwards.
Mm.
And I was already part through a book I was really enjoying at the time. I finished it now. But I didn't want to read after reading this. And I'd also read another book before it, which I absolutely loved. So that has probably not helped either.
Yeah, probably.
That other book was all the vibes, all of them. And also criticised corporatism, but in a far more current way. So, but there we go. That's my thoughts.
You know, I mostly agree. Like, I did give it quite a good rating. I gave it 4 stars.
You did. I think mine
for the imagery.
I think mine probably shows as a 4 on Goodreads because
it would do.
Up.
Yeah, but if I was to take into consideration everything that we talked about, I would probably lower it, to be honest.
No, I mean, thing is, the other thing is you enjoyed it, right? Which is the main.
Towards the end, I did enjoy it. I hate the ending.
Yeah. You hated the ending.
I was like, great.
Okay, stop. Okay, this is important actually because I didn't touch on the ending. Why did you hate the ending?
Right, they get a happy ending.
I was going to say, do you not like people being happy, Noah?
No.
Is that what this is?
It's a horror book. Lovecraft, they're either insane or they fucking die. Something traumatic. Kane was mentally fucked. He was gone. All of a sudden, he's off the ship. Oh, I'm magically okay. You know what? We're going to get together. We're going to have a good time. The end. That's not how it should have ended.
I need to point out there is a time jump.
Doesn't matter. He instantly saved her. He was like, I'm off the ship. I remember. I saw you and I started pulling you in from outer space. And then a time jump and we are gonna be together. Fuck my child. Like...
That's not exactly how it plays out.
That's how it played out for me. I was just like... It was like...
It does depend on whether you consider the fact that those vibrations had an effect of permanent harm or if it was very, very...
It should have been permanent. He should have been a vegetable.
I think realistically, there should have been some form of lasting trauma, which is something there wasn't. You do see that with Claire from her previous experience.
Yeah, but because of that previous experience, she's like, cool, I'm okay, I know how to cope with things. He's like, I'm magically okay and better. We're going to live together, the end, and it's Merry fucking Christmas. And it's like, you know what?
Do you know how you can explain that away? And you can actually
They both actually technically died or are mentally disturbed, that they're just like, this is okay.
No. As a character, he is so bland. This is a character that lacks imagination.
And he does at the end.
He lacks imagination at the end. That's the thing. He recovers because he can't imagine anything bad. He is so bland, such a blank slate of a person.
Vanilla.
Yeah. So it doesn't stick. So it actually makes sense for his character to revert so quickly because there is a lack of imagination there. There's a lack of human.
I would have liked it if he died.
You can't kill everybody.
You can. Lovecraft proved that.
You like the truth though. So
yeah,
a hill we will constantly argue about.
Yeah.
I need to reread that at some point. Really don't want to. But yeah, so that's our thoughts on Dead Silence.
Yeah, we're gonna leave it there an hour long.
Yeah, you get to edit this one. So
I'm gonna leave it as it is.
Oh Jesus!
It's just gonna go up.
Okay. We are going to be doing another live chat. Well, live chat. It might be a live chat. I don't know. We've not decided yet, have we? After July has finished.
Mm-hmm.
Talking about books. That's going to be... I was going to say it'd be more weighted in me talking, but I think this one has been as well. So...
No.
Because I think...
I may have... as well.
You have. But I think I have a suspicion that I will have more books to talk about.
Yeah, you've read more than me, so...
Yeah, I think I'm on 6 at the moment. We should go up to 8 by the end of today, hopefully. But we don't know what we're doing with that yet and what that's going to look like. So we can throw ourselves off that bridge when we get there, right?
We can, absolutely.
Yeah. But thank you for hosting for me.
Well, thank you for talking to me about it. I've been wanting to talk about it for ages.
Yes. Well, we could have talked about it sooner, but you decided to have disasters. So.
I did.
And you've come through stronger. If more hungry. Sorry. We are friends, really, in real life.
We are. You've been there for me. I appreciate it.
I have, with the kindling. But...
What?
You either laugh or you cry, mate.
That's true. I've had my cry.
So...
It's now about laughs.
Exactly. It's all about the... I forgot what the word is.
Experience.
No. Vibes. All
Sure.
about vibes. That's what the young'uns say, right? When they're trying to visit each other up and stuff.
I don't know.
When they're being rad and everything.
No one says that anymore, then.
I know. I'm doing it on purpose because it makes you cringe. And it amuses me.
Ugh. Right. We're going to end it there.
We hope you've enjoyed.
Yeah, let us know what you thought and think.
Yes. If you've read this, let us know in the comments. Give us your thoughts. Would you read a sequel to this one? Did you enjoy it? Are you going to read Ghost Silence? All these questions
Ghost
and more
Silence. Ghost Station.
Ghost Silence. The idea of ghosts that have been magically silenced is a fascinating one. Just on a randomly going off in a direction. And then you've got to figure out because they can't communicate with you anymore. There we go. You're welcome. It's nearly as bad as my vampire moth side. Vampire
right, no, we're going now. We're not dealing with that anymore. Say goodbye, Ben.
Goodbye, everybody. Have a good day.
Cheers. Bye.